Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Macro Chat Live Show. Let me make sure I have it right. Wrong side. Monica's in the house. Woohoo!
Hi! So good to see you again.
I know. It's so exciting. She has, oh my gosh. So, Monica, you are so inspiring because I've been seeing your new work. She's going to be teaching this weekend, you guys. We have so much to chat about. And I'm so honored to have you back on the show. Thank you so much, Monica. This is going to be
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. We had fun last time.
Oh, I know, isn't it? It's so much fun. And yeah, of course, AD's in the background doing all this stuff while we're like, So if any of you guys, we look at the chat, I always ask you guys to let us know who's here. Debbie is here. She's chatting up. She was saying something about, like, it was saying, there was a time difference, but we've got people jumping in, so all's good. We're going to do some basic stuff, Monica, like we always do. Okay. Let me just let people know what is going on. So Monica is one of our amazing photographers. We interview a photographer once a month, and Monica was on the show before, and I will put down the other show link that we had her before so you can see her other work. But today we're going to talk about inspiration and Monica's doing new things. And I love to have photographers back on the show where they're just rocking it and doing new stuff. She is a macro photographer. She's a fine art photographer. Really wonderful to have. I want to say, though, that before we get going, this show is every other Thursday. So the next show that we'll have is on September 3rd, and it will be at 1 p.m. So, Monica, thank you so much. At 1 p.m. Last time you and I were on at 5.
Yes.
Well, where are you from again? Where are you at?
In San Diego, and I do think we did it late because I remember having to set up lights, whereas today it's 1 p.m. I'm good.
Yes. Isn't this great? Yeah, that's right. Okay, that you're in San Diego. Yeah, Ashley just went to San Diego. So it is 1 p.m. now because we have a lot of people now from Europe. So we have, English and Ireland and all kinds of stuff jumping in, which is really, really cool. So now we've set it so the Europeans can join us, which is a lot of fun. I do want to say, Monica does not know this, but I do want to say that I want to thank all of you guys, the prayers and the well wishes. Kevin and I had COVID, Monica.
I didn't know that.
Yes, I didn't tell you because we were doing all this
goosebumps. Oh,
technical. God. Yes, and so it is a kicker, especially for us older ones, and it does feel like an elephant's on your chest. It really, really does. But we've made it. We're still real tired. I may cough. I'm on an inhaler, but we are on the upper part of COVID, so it was a little scary for sure.
That's
but
awful. I'm so sorry that you had it, and I'm so happy that you're over it almost. That you've survived it. I know. I have a good friend who had it, and the recovery, she said, it's gonna be months.
Yeah, it's a killer. It's a toughie for sure, and it's going around Kevin's work, and that's how it got into him. But so we are on the cusp, and it's nice to be able to chat with you. It makes me even happier. You really do appreciate what you have. You know what I mean? It's very cool. So I'm so glad that my first thing back is with you, and we get to chat with your beautiful.
I like the recovery inspiration.
Yeah, it's you know what, you really do enjoy being healthy when you're done with it. I mean, the young ones, I'm sure they have no problems. It's us older ones. So yeah, let's go ahead and do a real quick sponsor, AD, and then I'm going to dive right into Monica. We're going to go for it.
Ready to accomplish your macro photography goals? Our SJP membership will keep you on track, hold you accountable for your goals, and teach you new techniques. This program provides you the value of a college course. with the fraction of the price.
For more information, head on to membership.sullivanjphotography.com. It's time to focus on your goals to get you to where you want to be.
So don't miss out.
Don't miss out, because we just opened.
Good.
Yeah. We actually shut it down for a little while and just worked with the members that are in there now, and now we've just opened it. But so Monica, I did this last time. I'm going to do the same thing. Mm-hmm. I love what Monica put on her About page. So before we get into her new work and stuff, I just want to read what Monica has to say. If you guys have not gone to her website, AD has put her website down below. She says, I am fortunate enough to live my dream. Be living my dream. A career in fine art photography allows me at the same time. I listen to the subjects I photograph, and then I feel like it allows me to convey something and be heard by the viewer. That just gives me goosebumps. It's such a great way to know you, and I can see that in your work. And yeah, so I would love for people that have not seen you on the previous show, just give them a little overview of how you got into the whole macro scenario, and you know, like what you're, you know, how you got into it right now, so they know you a little bit.
Well, you know how you hear people say, like, I didn't choose this job, it chose me? I kind of feel the same way. I mean, I chose photography as a career, but I didn't choose macro. It chose me. I didn't even know fine art was a genre when I started photography as a business in 2006. And I would just find myself after a portrait session, I'd find myself like down on the ground and digging through things and getting dirty and finding really, really small things. And yeah, it was 2006. My dad bought me my first macro lens, which was a Tameron lens. And I just went crazy with it and photographed everything everywhere. And then as the years progressed, realized, wait, this is a thing. Like, people sell fine art photography. They sell pieces of art. They teach people how to do this. And then Tameron and I started working together professionally, and they, you know, started providing me with the greatest equipment and the support, and it just continued to grow, because once I learned it was a viable career path over portraiture, you know, then I just blossomed.
Yeah, and you've got a really good background too in your fine art world, which is really nice too.
Well, I've been fortunate to study I with some people, and I credit Freeman Patterson, who I just love, and actually I'm working with him this weekend. So to be in the same ticket with him, it's like kind of mind-blowing, because he's just way up there. He's Canadian, and he lives in the province where my family lives, and so he just is amazing. He's got millions of books, and he's really fantastic. So I studied with him, and then my passion for macro grew into studying art and art design. And so now I feel like I'm making macro images that are very intentional.
Yes.
And you know, adhere to, well, have real specific elements of art and the different principles of design. So it's more fun. I feel like I have more tools in my tool belt now to create new work.
Oh my gosh, how exciting to be able to work with somebody that you admire and everything too. And your work, you know, your work is absolutely gorgeous. And I'm going to share some stuff in Lightroom where we can talk about. But before we dive in because we are going to talk towards the end about how you can work with Monica, and we'll share the website and share some of the tidbits, you know, to get to, you know, to join her session. And but I do want to hear about, before I share some of the images, just like, how did you get this new inspiration? You know, there's so many people that really do, like, they'll stay away for a long time and not photograph. And, you know, we all love what we do, you know, when we photograph, when we express, but you go in these ruts. So I was just I was really curious to say, you know, to find out, like, what got you just going again? I mean, how did you get to, like,
well, I'm actually trying to suppress laughter because you did it. You did it.
I did it?
Uh-huh. I mean, you planted this seed that, okay, so here's what happened. After our last interview, which was our first interview, we went all through it, and then you said to me at the end, so what are you working on that's new? And I am very, very rarely speechless. Anybody that knows me, but I was speechless and stunned because in my mind I was like, well, nothing, because I'm not shooting anything, because everything sucks. And I was just having this. I was in this space, and I thought, am I gonna lie because I'm on camera? But then no, of course not. I'm always me. At least I think I am. I try to be. Yeah. And so I just said to you, I don't know. I'm not working on anything. I'm in a creative funk. I've got a block, and I'm not working on anything. And you said, oh, okay. And then that was great. And then we wrapped up, but it haunted me. And I thought, wow. And then I went like, what are you doing? Like, what's wrong with you? And I went through this whole process. And then Chris Smith from the Out of Chicago group contacted me a few months ago to said, come and be in this event, be in the April event, and then be in the August event. And he's such a smart businessman. One of the things he said was, don't be bringing old work, or people want to see some new stuff. So you better get to it. I mean, he said that to everybody. It wasn't like he was singling me out. But those two things, it just snapped me out of it. And I thought, come on, just get to it. And so then I went in the studio with some stuff and just kind of played, and you know what the result was.
yeah, which is great. We're going to show that. But, I do remember you were teaching. Sometimes things like, and I have to say, too, that my business sometimes takes me away from creativity.
For sure.
It's just like, no. What is the main reason why I'm doing this?
Because when you speak and teach for a living, you can shoot a good portfolio over a few months, and then you're being paid to speak and teach and travel and go around. And you kind of just end up using the same stuff over and over because it's what you have, for sure. I meet kids all the time, and they're like, I want to be a photographer. I'm like, well, you better be prepared to be, even 80% business and 20% making images, because that's the difference between a hobbyist. They can shoot all the time, but when you're running a business, it's a very different scale for balance in terms of how you end up spending your time. So I hear you.
Yes. Oh, well, I am so excited. So let me get up. Let me push this guy down. We're going to go to Lightroom, and you could see what we have. Oh, maybe we should share the screen. Let's see.
I mean, I can see it, so I don't know.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there we go. So we're gonna talk about. You also did some behind the scenes, which is really cool too. Which I like.
Did I see those?
Yeah. Well, you know what? What I want to do is I want to share. These are absolutely gorgeous, and we'll talk about these pieces. But then also, I want to share some other. You know me. I've always got little. My mind's going a mile a minute. But so tell me, like, what started this area of? I'm going to share these pieces just real quick. We're going to go back to them.
Okay.
But I want to know, how did you start? Did you just start playing with paper? I mean, did you go on the internet? I mean, I'm just curious. Look at how gorgeous this is. I love the degree of the colors and how it. Did you play with lights? Tell me.
Well, okay. Yes, it's just paper. That's what it is.
It's not. You know me. I'm going to get you. It's not just paper. What you've done to this paper is not just. It's gorgeous.
Well, thank you. Thank you. So it's paper with design. So I find my subject matter. I go through the world and I come across things that I'm fascinated with. Either it's the shape of it, it's the texture of it, it's the properties of it. So in this case, the paper, it's so smooth. And then I start to think design. Well, what does paper do? Well, if you crumpled paper and photographed it, lighting it a certain way, you would feel like crunchy, right? That extreme texture. And so what's the opposite? Well, smooth, curving paper. And I love curves. I love smoothness. That theme appears often in my waterdrop photography. And so I just took some paper and stapled a corner of it, and then without my camera, I sit there and get to know my subject matter. So I did. I stapled a corner of it, and then I just bent them and twisted them and saw what shapes it could make. So get to know your subject matter, know what it can do, and then don't argue with it. If it bends that way, then go with that. And then so you start there, and then you go a little bit further. So in this piece, it looks like, how the edges glow. Yes. The edges glow because then after you staple the corner, you unstaple it, and then you arrange it with millimeters of overlap, and then you restaple it. So I'm not trying to say it's easy.
I don't think anything that you do is easy, but that's what makes it so fun, isn't it?
It's pretty that's precise. Because when when light spills across something, especially when it's thick paper, right, you have different levels of diffusion that go through the paper, and then if a piece of paper is outside of the other one, the light's going to hit that. So it's going to look like it's glowing and perhaps even a different color. And it just gives depth and dimension, and it's just fun.
It is. And Otto's saying he loves it. And I do too. It's like so awesome. Yeah, it is. And I do see the curves. I do see I see your work, and I can tell that the grace of things and the movement is really nice. And I think that's what's so exciting about looking at your stuff, because your eyes are going. And I love the black and white feel too. This is cool too, because, we miss a lot of black and white nowadays. So this is really beautiful with the gradients and the zones that you have. And if anybody of you guys don't know, the zones that's from the whites to the blacks, and it just flows, and it's just, it feels great. I could totally, this is so, it's so elegant, I guess. Is what I'm for.
Well, I think as an artist, it's important to push yourself, and I don't gravitate towards black and white. And so I converted that to black and white intentionally, just to push myself. And then the other lesson is, look how that resonates with you. That you said, oh, I like it so much, I don't, but I've made that experience for my viewer, and that's awesome. I think that's just great.
Yeah, it feels wonderful when somebody gets something out of it. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. This is the one that's, we're going to go here, and this is the one that they're sharing out of Chicago. Uh-huh. Wowza. That is just so cool. Tell me about what the inspiration
is. You're going to hate me when I tell you what this is.
No, I'm going to be like, whoa.
I know. I don't know if I make friends or enemies when okay, so I'm in the studio, I'm shooting this complicated scene, and because I like to shoot standing up, I will build my sets so that I don't have to bend over to shoot. Oh. And so I'll often just grab things and boxes and stuff, and I'll just stack them up. So in this case, my set was stacked up, I was shooting something complicated on top, and I sat down because I was just pooped. And I looked through, and the milk crate that the set was on, that's the milk crate, was it just spoke to me. I just looked and I saw it, and the strobe is, the softbox is what's behind your face. I love it. The softbox is through it, and I was like, it's a circle party, and that's awesome.
Oh my gosh. But you know what, look at that. Okay, so this is such a great inspirational subject, because you get so honed in on your main subject, but you're really working on, and you're like, okay, I'm tired. But it's so cool, Monica, that you can sit there and say, whoa. So, look beyond just the main subject and see something totally different. And this is rocking it. When I saw this, I was like, wow, I love the circles, the color. And it's, you know what, though? Not everybody could just do a milk crate. Sorry.
Well, you can if you train yourself to see. Yes. That's the thing, right? Is that people I think the training from in macro has taught me about extreme detail. And so when you sit somewhere, I mean, let's make this a challenge for your viewers. Just grab a macro lens and sit somewhere outside, kitchen table, whatever, and find something within arm's reach to photograph, and then find a way to make it look nice. Because if you backed up and took a snapshot of a milk crate, it's going to be a milk crate, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Wow.
just learn to see, learn to look around you and see. And once you know the properties of a macro lens really well, that has helped my brain, because I can kind of see, I know what it's going to look like in the lens. So
Yes.
that's helped. Yeah.
That's a great tip. Yeah. So the more you shoot, the lens that you use, the more you'll understand what's going to happen before you actually push that shutter button. Yeah. That's really beautiful. And then when we talk about, you know what, I forgot to ask you before. So look at these things are your new goodies. Mm-hmm. And I just love this is so you, Monica, with the curves and the drops. And but what's interesting is that these ones, the ones that we're going to be showing, I'll show quickly, but we'll come back to them because you got to take time to look at this work. They're safety pins, correct? Is that what it is? Or paper clips?
Paper clips.
Oh my God. Okay. Tell me, how did you get this inspiration? People, this is paper clips and water drops. How gorgeous is that? I mean, this is really, really cool. Did you bend these and do these on your own?
There you go. Yeah, I just paper clip and pliers. And I mean, I couldn't have done this, 5 years ago. I just I didn't understand enough about design. So I might have come across a paper clip and went, oh, that's cool. How do we do this? As the pieces of paper, get to know your subject. What are the properties? And then it's not cheating to alter things. It's not cheating to move a flower or a twig out of the background of your flower picture outside. That's not cheating. That's your sophisticated eye seeing how you can improve this image. So taking a paper clip and bending it and manipulating it and then putting a bunch of water drops on it, which sounds like a weird thing to do, it's not cheating either. You're creating shapes that are fun. I was trying to be fun and whimsical, and then I'm also trying to really challenge myself to create very different shapes out of all of them. That's a little harder for me, because once I get in a zone, I'm kind of in the zone. So I ended up asking myself, okay, what are the characteristics of this bent paper clip? How can I make it different here? Sharper bends, wider bends, I just kind of went through them all.
And to see what you really like. Now, how did you keep I know there's certain ways that I do my water drops, but how do you keep your water drops stable like this without, was these like tons of shots, or did it actually stick, or is it, because sometimes I'll use a little sugar depending on what's going on, or I actually have used, it's not water.
Glycerin?
Glycerin. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would say build a stable set using a milk crate. It's on top. It's a mirror on top of my set. Same day. No, it's actually just water.
Oh, okay. And there's
I use a syringe.
Okay.
So it's an actual syringe, right? And a syringe has a bevel to it. And so the trick, and I'm actually illustrating this like live this weekend, but the trick is how you take this syringe and use the bevel to like shave the water drop off of the syringe and apply it to whatever. It's all about surface tension. And you have to learn the properties of water and the surface tension and what it will stick to and what it won't.
Right. Well, that's great. So that's good to know that you're going to show people in your class how to get this going. And look at how gorgeous this one is too. I just love the way it comes. And then that drop right here at the very end, just ready to go. It is so cool.
So what I do for that, I take like what I call the insurance shot. So you get the whole thing, expose it, and la la la, set your lights. Then, you know, because I'm using a remote trigger, right? So because I'm about a foot away from the camera, so I take this syringe, I put a water drop, it's good, and there's there's my insurance shot. And then I just incrementally add to the drop, another one, and then it eventually falls. And then you start all over.
Yeah, that's great. No, this is so cool. And how fun. I love that you have made the art with the paper clip, and then on top of it, your signature to me is your drops. I mean, that's really, really cool. So I feel like this is a personal piece that's yours, you know. So this is wonderful. This must have been very exciting for you to. I mean, when I find something that I'm like, okay, this is mine, this feels great, that must have been exciting for you to.
When I'm in the studio, I mean, my life is busy. I have a full-time and an almost full-time job, right? Kids, partner, I'm busy. I mean, everybody is. But when I'm in the studio, I'm alone with very loud music, and I'm alone, and it's true playtime, and you're allowed that because it's your job, so that's good. But even if it isn't, you should have pure playtime in your life. I just don't happen to have a lot of time for that. So when I'm in the studio, I honestly, it's the time I feel most childlike, because nobody's bugging me. I'm not responsible, no adult decisions to make. It's literally like, where are you going to put a water drop? La, how are you going to bend that? Yay! I mean, there's just no accountability, right? It's total playtime. I mean, that's just the greatest thing ever.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So creating this I was getting calls to come home. I was like, because I'd been there for about 4 hours.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. I went back to the studio and worked again, but yeah. So it's just fun. It's fun.
This is a behind the scenes. Okay, so this one and then we'll go to a critique time. But then when we go to the equipment, I want to talk a little bit about that. But this is beautiful. So I'm assuming, let's just go quickly.
Okay.
And then we'll talk about it more detailed.
Okay.
That's what you got. You got this, correct? You got this, and then you went to that. Am I correct on that?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So tell us how you got the inspiration for this then. You were just looking around and you have this beautiful rock. I love.
Nope. So my friend Don Komarachka, he is a Canadian macro photographer.
He's been on the show. Yes,
Yeah.
I know Don. Yeah.
His brain. Can we just talk about that for a minute?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Holy, he has to talk down to me because I'm like, okay, Don, it's a little
Can
too
you dumb it down, Don? Because nobody speaks science like you do. So he turned me on to this idea. It's a type of quartz, and you can just buy it online. It's really inexpensive. But when you put a light on it and you use a very shallow depth of field, the bokeh it creates, which is what you showed in the second image, is to die for, right? Mm-hmm. Because it's multicolored, so how fun is that? There just are very few backgrounds that render bokeh multicolored, right? That's pretty unusual because lights are, unless it's Christmas lights or whatever. But that was the start. So Don had a hand and he inspired the background in this image. And then that's also hey, the good news, Janice, is if you just can get a macro lens, you can have no other equipment and be like poor and just make awesome artwork because that's all you need.
Yeah.
Right? So it's just another paper clip, and I bent it a different way. And on the left, those are just high-powered magnets that are holding up the paper clips in all the other images. And so I just stacked them to give me some working space.
Okay, yeah, I was wondering about that. It looked like it was the hype because my husband has one that's really, really awesome. Those magnets.
The magnets, yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Cool.
Yeah. And so, and then you did your drop and
thing.
Yeah. Look at that. Looks like a diamond. Oh, and then this one. Okay, so see how it led you guys? So this is like the steps, and I love that you did this so we could see the before, and how it came about. So it turned out gorgeous.
Thanks.
And I love the colors. This one is amazing too. I love this. Explain this. I saved this one for last. I think this one is my favorite. It's just so different, and yeah, it's really, really beautiful.
Thanks.
Yes, and then was inspired to do this.
Well, okay, so same background, that quartz stuff. Same day in the studio playing and trying to push myself to, my collectors like to buy in collections, right? So they'll buy one, and then what are companion pieces to go with this? And then sometimes you don't have it, and then they commission it, and then you have to make it. And so I often try to shoot in collections, but not exact collections. Sometimes exact, like the first series of paper clips, and then sometimes just creating companion pieces that coordinate, but they don't match. And so this is the same paper clip as the previous image, but this is embarrassing. It's it's wedged into like a socket, where you go with the socket wrench, like tick, 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 and it's just a socket. And so the way the socket works, right, it's square on the back so that you can put the socket wrench driver tool thing in it. And then the front is a circle, like a ratchet. Is that what it's called? A socket ratchet?
Oh, I think so. I think
a tool that goes like crank, crank, crank.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
So it's in one of those. And then I stuck those on the stack of high-powered magnets.
Oh, wow.
And so I shot it with just one, but then the image evolved because one, you work in the rule of odds, right? So 1, 3, 5. In art, we like odds, but the one just wasn't doing it. And so I just took the drop and I was cloning it and playing a little bit with it in Photoshop, and a lot of my designs were not working until I found that I took one half of the image, cloned the whole thing, and flipped it, and then merged them.
That is awesome. I love it. It turned out amazing. So there's another great tip. So you've started a project. You're like, I've got this, and I know what I want. I got it. It's just not working. But you keep playing. And then, this is great. And you've got this beautiful piece that nobody else has made or will make, because this is yours. It's the color, the 3, the socket. I would never even have known it was a socket at
Sockets,
all.
paper clips, and milk crates. What more do you need in life?
Seriously, I don't want to hear that I don't have enough money for macro. Please.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, this is great. Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. Let's go ahead and go back to S&C. Now, if you guys have any questions for Monica, this is the time for us to ask, for you guys to ask. So Barry's here from England. Hey, Debbie's here. Nice to see you, Debbie and Barry and Ada. And yes, if you guys have, he was saying a mirror image. When you had some reflection, was that like black plexi? Or I remember one time, weren't you using an iPad or something? I don't remember. But how are you getting your reflections from the bottom?
Well, sometimes I actually shoot on my own artwork, so I take it off the wall because it's metal. So that's what I had done. It's Miller's Professional Imaging prints all of my artwork, and I print them on aluminum, so it's super awesome. But in the series of paper clips, it's on a mirror.
Oh, okay. That's actually on a mirror.
Yeah, it's a mirror.
Yeah, that looks really, really cool. Yes, and Debbie says brilliant. Yes, they are loving it. I knew they would love all this. Is new inspiration, new ways of thinking, new macro stuff. Very, very cool. Okay, you guys, you got to ask questions now, because what we're going to end up doing is we're going to go into our critique segment, which Art has given us. So let's go ahead and hold on one second, because of course I wasn't paying attention to my notes. So let me get over here, and I'm actually ready. And then what we're going to do is, Monica, can you see the image, AD will share the image and go ahead.
Yeah,
and share it.
he'll share it big, right?
Yeah, he's going to do a critique.
But I've seen them in the email you sent, so I reviewed them large.
Oh, okay, good. Go ahead, AD. Let's go for it. Woohoo! So Art's given us some smoke images, and he has 3 of them. And the thing that I thought was really good is Art's been photographing for a long time, Monica. So I'll give you a bit of background with Art. So he has he's actually like just going outside of his comfort zone and trying new things, and macro is part of the whole new world that he's living in right now, which is nice. And I don't know if Art is here. He usually does make the show, but he was saying that I'm going to read this and then we'll talk about his work and give some feedback to help just push him to the next level. That's what we're all about, is just doing it. So he says, I was working last week on some smoke photography. These were shot using a off-camera flash and a black background inverted in Photoshop and finished in a Topaz studio. He uses I don't know how to say, I'm so bad with technical, like Gono flash. I'm sorry, Art, I don't know. Young Nuo, AD's got us right here. Oh, and Art is here. Yes, he's here. Yay! So he says that he used the flash with a radio trigger, and he uses a Sony A77 with a 100 millimeter macro lens. Okay. To get good smoke, he used the incense to produce thick smoke. So what he is doing is he's playing, and like I say, Art is he's a photographer that he definitely likes to push his stuff. He's been on the show several times. So what I always think is that this is the first, there's 3 of them. I'm going to do this quickly and then we can go through them real quickly. It's not like a major critique or major feedback. It's just like to help other people. So, and Art himself. So we want to start with this one. I think this is the one that he reversed.
Can we start with either of the other 2? Can we do this one last?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure, we could do that one last. So let's start with we'll go from reverse. We'll do the color and we'll go through the yellow and go back. Okay, let's go for it.
I always have so much to say. When I saw these, I was like, oh, I have so much to say.
I love it.
So this one was, okay. The first one we showed is my favorite, and I'll explain why kind of at the end. So the characteristics of this image, it's very flat, which is fine, right? It's a study in color, and it's busy, and there's pattern, and it's lovely. It's very eye-catching. You kind of it's very graphic. You would see this as like a large poster or something like that. When you have something that's so interpretive like this and that's so artistic and specific, there's not really many rules. So you have symmetry, yes. You have a wide variety across the color spectrum, so that enhances it. It's a study in color, so it's great. Now go to the yellow one, because I'm kind of speaking to them all in relation to each other versus just one analysis or one critique. Perfect. So this one, here's where you start to get into what I call your frame of reference. So sometimes when you're making abstract art, it's abstract to you, but if it kind of looks like something that people might recognize, sometimes that changes how they view the image. So in this case, this was one of my first impressions was its ribs. It's like an X-ray, like a torso. And that wasn't super comfortable for me. I didn't really enjoy that idea in my head, versus I didn't get that from the first image whatsoever. So the singular color scheme of the yellow and the black and the white background, I don't think those color patterns love each other so much, and this frame of reference thing kind of got in my way. Does that make sense?
Yes, it totally makes sense. Yes.
So now jump to the next one.
Okay. There.
I love this. So I love this one. I think in terms of your evolution, this is fantastic. I've shot smoke before. Same setup that you're talking, except I did a black background, but lights through it. It's the coolest thing. If you haven't done incense, you have to do it in a place where there's no airflow whatsoever. So you basically have to smoke yourself out. Because what the incense will do, it will start to curl and make crazy patterns on its own. It's fantastic. And that's what I see in this image. And so with the processing of the other two pieces, you lose the quality of the smoke that you've retained in this. And that's why I love this one, because you know it's smoke. You feel that it's smoke. And then your color choices are great.
Yes.
In a perfect world, I would love to see the yellow become something perhaps of a different hue of blue, because I don't think in this case you want a contrasting color palette. Since this is artwork that's it's very personal and
right.
abstract, you can change the colors of whatever, right? So I would love to see that color contrast go away, because I don't want that to pull my attention away from the symmetry, which is spot on, and from the quality of the smoke. So I'll stop.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. And it looks like he did the half and half also,
Yes,
which is really, really cool. That's maple symmetry, which is really nice. I love that. And I agree too. This one is my favorite. And for me, the reason why it's my favorite is because it has dimension. The other ones have the flat feel. And, so, and you know, because it's a photograph, that's what I personally, this, like you say, it's so personal, but this really was just like, whoa, this is so cool. I really, really love this. And my eyes do go to the mustard color, but I just feel like all in all, this one just like knocked the rocks. I mean, just totally, I could see experimenting like this. This is a lot of fun and experimentation, and I like that too. But because it's smoke, and this one is the one with the swirls and the beauty and the grace, and that I like.
It's all the characteristics of smoke. And if you're going to shoot smoke, why not preserve those characteristics?
Yes,
right?
That's exactly how I feel. It's just beautiful. He did a wonderful job there.
Good.
So we'll go back to us. Barry says, Monica, looking at your website, flower macro close-up pics yesterday gave me inspiration to try some new ideas. Goals, Janice. He knows I'm all about goals, setting goals, and completing them.
Yeah.
That's what I teach. That's my main thing. He says for my flower macro composition, and he wants to thank you.
Oh.
So.
Well, you're welcome, and that was easy.
That's so
I did
cool.
nothing.
Yeah. Thank you, Barry. No, that's good to know, because, you know, so it's nice to know. Sometimes you don't realize that how you inspire other people. And well, I'm sure you do, because we are going to get into, we are going to start and almost soon, you guys going to be able to see where you get to work with Monica, which I would totally jump on that if I were you guys. Art says, thank you so much for the critique. You are welcome. And he did say yes, half and half. So I wanted to ask you, now, with these new tools and these new tricks, you said that you used a crate, you used the syringe, and you, so you're using something to bend. So you're using like a nose, what are those, needle nose to bend?
Needle pliers.
Needle nose pliers. And then what is your favorite macro lens that you're using for these things now? The new stuff?
I shoot the Tameron 90mm exclusively. I don't ever need any other lens. I love it. I always have.
Cool.
Yep.
That's awesome. See, that's good to know. And then because we're in, AD, you don't have to go through the equipment, because usually I'm like equipment segment, that breaks things up. We're in the equipment segment, everyone. So when it comes to your lighting with the drops and things like that, are you like using just a light that you're just moving around, or are you popping anything, or how are you manipulating your
It always, so when you do water drops, it's the most annoying answer in photography for any question is it depends. Because it depends on what do you want the water drops to look like. So you have to make a decision. Do you want specular highlights in the water drop? Do you want them just to be, lit kind of in a more ambient way, less directional? It's hard to answer that because there's a million choices. That's why it's the annoying answer of it depends. But I have several pieces of lighting equipment. So I do use some large strobes sometimes. Sometimes I use a ring flash, but rarely. But I use a Nissan ring flash when I do use it. Sometimes I use a flashlight, like just a little simple LED flashlight.
Yep.
And sometimes I do shoot actually a lot with the Savage Universal light table, which is super, super fun because you can use it as a table and put things on it and photograph them like from above, but you can also use it as a background and then it's just glowing. So
it's called a Savage. We'll have to put that link down. Remember how last time I asked you to send the links that you use? We'll do that for
we'll do that for sure. It's Savage Universal. It's a light table. It's cool. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, I noticed a lot of people are doing light tables nowadays, which is, I don't know my story. I actually threw my light table away because I used to use it for film, slides.
Yeah.
So we started getting into digital. Why? I'll never throw anything away anymore.
See, tell my girlfriend that, because I always want to keep everything. I'm like, what if I make $1 million image of that piece of garbage one day? And she's like, you won't. Throw it out. You don't know.
Exactly. You don't. Barry used this. You posted 2 styles of macro creations. Oh, okay, cool. I'll check it out. We have a Facebook. One of the things. Okay, I want to. Barry is working on water drops. Do you have a tip for him on getting the drops, like say in focus on, is there a tip that you could give him? I know what I do, but I want to know, you're here. This is about you, so I want to know.
Well, so again, annoying answer, it depends. So let's say for time's sake that we're talking about a suspended drop, right? Okay. When you're working in macro, the world is measured in millimeters or less for Americans. And so you can focus on the front of the water drop, the middle, or the back of it. So something like Don has this style where he focuses a lot on the inside of the water drop and what's inside. And so, it's all sharp and stuff. And my style is the complete opposite. I want the outside to be sharp. I want the outside of that water drop to be tack sharp. So whatever's on the inside just goes to mush. So you have to find your style and what you like. You could also do something like get a rail and photograph all the way through it, so you can gauge for yourself what style you like, because you like focusing on the front or the back. So it depends.
I love that. I love what you're saying. So it's like, do what you like. But I want to say one thing, though. So, Barry, Monica's doing what she likes. So Don, he has it see-through, and that's where our eyes go. Right. I notice with your compositions and your style, you have the artwork is the main piece and the drop is part of it, instead of the drop being the main piece. Okay. So that's, you know what I mean? So I think that's a great tip, because water drops are so interesting, and what you do is make it part of the fine art piece. I hope that makes sense, Barry.
Well, and if Barry's asking, because I just realized I answered that question but didn't give a lot of information. So I do shoot on a tripod, I do use manual focus, and I do use a remote trigger. So there, now I've answered it properly.
That's awesome.
A lot of time.
Perfect.
Sorry.
No, that's perfect. So normally I'll say, what are you working on now? But we already know, because go ahead, AD, and share the screen, because this is where Monica's going to be. And Monica, if they join, they use your name, you were saying, to...
Yeah, Royal, to get $50 off the ticket price. So it's I'm sorry, do you want me to?
Say it again, because I was talking.
Okay, so it's a 3-day event, and if they use the code ROYAL, then they get $50 off the ticket price. And myself and my buddy Todd Nettlehorst are going to be doing a 4-hour in-depth deep dive macro workshop. And all of those, as he's scrolling through all of those photographers there, we'll be teaching. There's Todd. Hi, Todd. Todd and I've spent more time on Zoom. We've spent more time together in the last 3 weeks than either one of us have seen our families. So, really? Yeah. So we're building games for our program. It's really going to be fun. We have tons of prizes to give away, he and I, because we work with Hunt's Photo, and of course Tameron and Miller's are giving us prizes. Actually, I'm giving away a lens. Giving away a Tameron 90mm macro lens that workshop.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so now this workshop here Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's the review side. Okay, so that's September 2nd. So we're on tomorrow. The event starts tomorrow. It's for 3 days, and then you get a little bonus because we're giving you a challenge, sending you away to shoot for a week, and then coming back on September 2nd, and we're going to have a huge image review.
Oh, wow. How fun is that?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Sometimes in a workshop, you get taught something, and then you're like kicked to the door, and then you're like, well, what do I do now? Well, this way, you go shoot, and then you come back, so the learning is just amplified. We're really excited.
Oh, that's so cool. It's like, so to access content in depth. So it doesn't, is this like, see, that's the thing that's tough. It's like, it just says this. I mean,
so you'd add to cart right there.
Uh-huh.
You'd buy it, and then when it goes to checkout, it'll ask you for the code, and
there it goes.
There it is. There's the coupon code. I'm a coupon.
Heck yeah, that's great. Anytime you get a deal, I love that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And so that sounds like fun, though. You get to have prizes, and you guys are just doing that on your own then. So each one is, I love that you're giving prizes.
Yeah, so Chicago runs the whole thing. It's their workshop. But Todd and I, we're just a great partnership, and we both bring sponsors into it. And so, yes, it's only in our workshop, our 4-hour, that we're giving away the Tameron lens and artwork from Miller's, and the little doodads and gizmos from Hunt's Photo and Video. So
that's so cool. I love that. Yeah, see, this is, okay, so I see how it goes. Yeah,
you can choose from all of those people. And I mean, they're fantastic photographers. It's a really neat concept for the workshop, because we did one in April. It was huge. We had almost 1,000 people from across the planet attend this workshop. It was great.
Really? Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
I know.
See, a lot of these photographers I know.
Yeah.
That's
so
so
pairing
fun.
us. So it's totally different.
Yeah.
A whole new dynamic, right? To be working with somebody else. And then your attendees get the best of both worlds.
Yeah. So that's what they're doing now, is they're letting you have 2 people. That's fun.
Yeah. Every session is a pair, 2 photographers.
That's wonderful. Yeah. Yeah. See, I wish they would have given you more. It says session description. I'm so glad that we had you, because they didn't put anything on here.
It's on there, I think, because that might be the pay. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's a good question.
Yeah, they need to put that on there. Janice is asking you.
It's on their webpage somewhere. I'm not sure.
Yeah, because if I click on it, I
know it's on there. Yeah, it's somewhere in there, because I wrote it, so I know it's on there. But perhaps it's just not on that page. I'm not sure. But I know if you go to Out of Chicago in depth, you'll find it.
Okay.
And if you're interested in taking it and there isn't a better description on the webpage, call me. My phone number's everywhere. Or email me and say, what are you doing?
Yes, because
we're going to talk about. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying that because this, like, I would want to know what this is great that you're on the show and explaining what your guys are going to be up to. Like, you already said that you were going to show how to do the drops and they get to win prizes and all that stuff. So maybe it's under full schedule.
Could be. Well, I can tell you that Todd and I we're going to do the technical stuff with macro. So we're going to do, he's going to do a little bit of focus stacking, which is not my thing, but it's his. So we're going to do focus stacking. We're going to talk about lenses. We're going to talk about tripods, cable releases. And then the bulk of what I'm going to do is this art design. So it's, how to use line, how to use shape, value. What are they? What's the difference between shape and form? A lot of people don't know that. What are some of the psychological implications of choosing different kinds of colors for your artwork? So it's a deep dive. It's 4 hours.
That's awesome. That's really cool. And that's what they're going to do the first time. And then you're going to set them off and you're going to come back in September. Oh, that's fun. Yeah. That's really, really cool. Yay! That's it. That's going to be a lot of fun. So you're going to be diving in tomorrow. I mean, that's wonderful. That's why you were on Zoom.
Yes, I had my Zoom all open. I'm like, this is a green screen, not my wall. Janice is like, Skype. I was like, hi, I'm metered and set for Zoom. I had the most beautiful image back here, but I don't now because my Skype wasn't working.
And then we tried to get Monica to show her how to do where you could put an image in Skype, but
it wasn't working. Yeah.
Awesome. I am so happy. Is there anything else that you would like to say? Can you believe we've already gone through an hour now?
Really? I don't even have a clock anywhere around me, so I had no idea what time it was.
It just goes by so fast.
I mean, I would just say in closing to encourage people. I feel like our climate right now, and I don't mean the physical climate, I just feel like life right now is a little bit negative and people are under a lot of strain. So use photography and use your artwork in a positive way.
Yeah.
Be nice. Be nice. Be nice to people. When you publish your work, be nice. When you comment on somebody else's, just reach out and say, hey, that's pretty, or hey, this made me feel good, or I just want more positivity. I need more positivity coming into my life. And so
yes, I love that, Monica. That's why I think we make it's always it's a pleasure to chat with you, but we are on the same level, and I totally am so glad that you're ending the show that way. So, like you say, create, be nice. People are trying new things. You don't have to be mean.
Everybody's struggling right now. Everybody in one way or another. So let's remember that our neighbors are struggling, and let's just be nice to each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
I totally agree. And
so glad you're healthy, Janice. That's terrifying.
Thank you. Yes. The hubby's in the next room laying down. And what we'll do is when I say goodbye to all of you guys, I'm going to join him. But I had a moment of some fun, and it was really such a pleasure to have you. And I hope that you have a wonderful weekend with, and hopefully we grab some people from the macro show. Come on, you guys, join it. Let her know that you were from the macro show, and it will be nice to have, we'll chat about it afterwards, and I hope the best for you guys. So with that said, I just want to remind you guys that we have the next show in 2 weeks. It's September 3rd, and don't forget to submit your work. And thanks again, Monica. You're amazing.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And remember that your 1,000 words does make a difference. Cheers, everyone.
Bye.